Hello, guys. So, welcome to the Confederation Faces Challenges Power Lesson video, review video, outline video, whatever you like to call it. Today, we are going to talk about America under this system of the Articles of Confederation, our first government and our failed government. So, during the years following the American Revolution, foreign relations remained contentious. The revolution freed American trade from the restrictions of British mercantilism. Americans could now trade directly with foreign powers, and a valuable Far Eastern trade developed where none had existed before. The Empress of China sailed from New York to China carrying furs, cottons, and the spice ginseng, and returning with silk, sea, and other luxury goods of East Asia. Exclusions from the British Imperial Trade Union also resulted in great losses for the Confederation. So, so now that the colonies were lifted from British rule and became a country, there is new trade partnerships going along. And this trade was from New York to China. So New York traded with China. So, New York traded with China. So, let's go on. Immediately after the revolution, Parliament debated the issue of trade with the former colonies. Some argued that restricting trade with America was wasteful, and that if trade were restricted, neither party would benefit. Others, still angry about the revolution, argued against a commercial treaty with the former colonists. Lord Sheffield, a member of the British Parliament, in his 1783 pamphlet entitled Observation of the Commerce of the American States, argued that Britain could trade with America without signing a treaty and making any concessions. So, Britain also started trading with America, with the full America. Because if they did not trade with America, they will suffer. So, Britain and America started trading. This problem with New York and China. This is just my observation. Because under this new AOC plan, AOC government, New York could trade with China exclusively. So China could trade with New York exclusively. And if you don't know what exclusively is, it means by themselves. So China doesn't have an obligation to trade with America. China only had an obligation to trade with New York. Parliament also refused to appeal. Parliament also refused to repeal the British Navigation Acts, which prohibited American commerce with the British West Indies. So Americans could not trade with the West Indies. So Americans could not trade with the West Indies. The effect was devastating to American trade in wheat, fish, and lumber. West Indian demanded for American goods remained strong, so shippers resorted to smuggling products to the islands on a much smaller scale. So we have illegal trading going on. British merchant ships, British merchants began to ship low priced goods for kinds all kinds to the Confederate States. Americans eagerly purchased British products that they were deprived of during the Revolution. The influx of cheap foreign goods further aggravated the already bleak economic structure for American merchants. Some demanded that the Confederation impose restrictions on British imports, so British goods coming in. But the Continental Congress did not have the power to regulate commerce, and the states could not agree on a uniform tariff policy. America and Britain were also involved in a dispute over post war borders. Britain proclaimed to withdraw all of its troops from America after the Revolution, and they did from the settled portions of the 13 states. In the northern frontier, however, the British refused to surrender several military posts on American soil that ran from the northern end of Lake Champlain down to the tip of the Michigan Peninsula. So there was also a border dispute, because one condition after the American Revolution was British troops needed to leave. British troops needed to leave. That was part of their deal. Needed to get out of there because we aren't under your control anymore. So British troops needed to leave. The British justified their positions by citing Americans' failure to honor the terms of the peace treaty. So America did not allow British creditors to collect pre-war debts and also did not restore the confiscated Loyalist property as promised. The British soldiers remained in their position to gain the favor of the local Indian tribes and deter America from future attacks on British-held Canada. So their position was USA did not deliver on peace treaty, on PT. So USA did not deliver on the peace treaty, and their presence, so that was the main message why they were here. The other reason why they were here is to deter future attacks on their British held Canadian border. Although Spain had recently been at war against Britain, it quickly became clear that they were not an American ally. During the peace negotiations, Spain had won back Florida and the Gulf Coast region east of New Orleans. Spain also controlled the mouth of the Mississippi River, which the growing American settlements in Kentucky and Tennessee used to transport their farm products to Eastern and European markets. In 1784, Spain closed the river to American commerce. Eventually, the Spanish governor reopened the river but required Americans to pay a tariff to use this waterway. So we see a negotiation with Spain, proving that they aren't as tight of an ally as we think, as we believe. Spain captured Fort Natchez during the war, and although it was far north of Spanish holdings and well into American territory, they refused to relinquish it. Like the British, the Spanish made alliances with local Indians in order to dissuade Americans from spreading west of the Appalachian. Post-war economic issues even strained Americans' relationship with their ally, France. The French demanded repayments for war debts and restricted American trade at some of their busiest ports. A stronger central government in America may have resolved these foreign policies and commerce issues, but we are under the Articles of Confederation, which does not allow us that authority. So, in the next video, we are going to talk about land ordinances in the Old Northwest. But please pay attention to all the trade disputes we talked about in this video, because they will actively be a part of the coming war, the War of 1812. See you guys in the next one.